Okay, guys, welcome back to The Binge by Barstool. We are breaking down episode 3 of The Real Housewives of New York.
It was a crazy episode. We skipped episode 2 in a recap, and we're just going to 3, and I'm glad we did because we have a ton to talk about. Obviously, the first thing that happened was Ramona, the help comment, gets confronted by Ebony, and there was a ton that happened in this episode, but that was the cliffhanger from episode 2. That's how we made it to episode 3. Your thoughts on that?
I think Ebony handled this with way more grace than I would have.
Right.
I really commend her. First of all, Ramona is like notoriously known for being like a shit stir, like treating people like absolute garbage. She makes like people at hotels unpack for her.
Right.
She like bosses people around. Someone in the city once told me that they waxed her eyebrows.
Ooh.
And she like tells them how to do her job. You know, she's like, no, wax them like this.
But that's specific to New York, I feel like. The attitude in New York, like that you're getting from these ladies, is not what you're going to get with like Atlanta. Because they're
Fair.
old, they're like old money. You know what I mean? They're old Upper East Side, rich, like, oh, unpack this. You're the help, blah, blah, blah. But when Ebony actually confronted her about the help, you could tell she was holding back a little.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know if I want to upset Ramona. So she just tested the waters this episode. But I think the next episode, she's really going to rip her head off. They're going to go head to head eventually, right?
Ramona kind of put her tail between her legs and was like, okay, yeah.
Right.
But you could tell she was kind of trying to dismiss it.
Oh,
as she did with the plasma thing, which we'll get into.
The plasma.
I felt like this whole episode was like Ramona didn't want to admit that she was wrong. So she was kind of just trying to like shut it down.
Well, she never wants to admit that she's wrong.
No.
That's her thing. She never admits it. She doesn't want to be talked to in a condescending way. No one wants to be talked to in a condescending way. But there's a difference between being condescending and exposing the truth.
100%.
And that's exactly what Leah did. She exposed the truth with a Daily Mail article. She actually brought up receipts, which I thought was the funniest thing in the world. Well, Ramona, you said you did. You donated plasma here. Did you do it?
And she's
did
like,
you donate
and what
it?
was the process like? How many
Yes.
vials of blood did they take? And Ramona's like, no, yeah, they just did it once.
No, and then she goes, wait, I have to go. I have diarrhea. That was her response. She goes, I'm upset. And then Luann goes, oh, and then Luann came out and aired everything out, saying that she had diarrhea.
Wait, this is my favorite part. My friend was the one that works at the vineyard.
You're
she owns
kidding
it.
me.
So she was sitting there and you see Luann being like, sorry that you had to hear that. And I know the girl. So I'm like, oh my God, I can't, like, what I would have loved to do to be a fly on the wall with like Ramona having diarrhea
Not
at the
in the
vineyard.
bathroom, though.
No, not a fly in
Just
that
some
wall.
old Ibs dumps in the bathroom. Disgust. Mackenzie's like, we're gonna cut that, but it's true. But I thought that was a riot. I don't know if she was faking it or not, but yeah, it was very, very bizarre. What else happened?
I think she was probably sick to her stomach because she knew she was getting called out and she knew she was lying, and she had no factual evidence to back up the fact that she donated plasma. What's it called? Plasma.
Yeah, which is a process to do, and it's not an easy thing to
and
do.
she couldn't speak to that process. So she knew her, like, the jig was up. You know what I mean?
When's the last time you lied about something big? What's the last lie that you told?
I don't know. I'm a liar when I have to.
You're a liar?
You know? Like, if I have to, I lie a lot to my mom because she's neurotic. So she'll be like, did you get home okay? And I'll like have taken the subway.
And you're
at,
hobbling back on crutches. No.
Like, it's like that kind of stuff.
Being chased down an alley.
It's more like you lie about stuff that you know is going to make the other person freak out.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to think. When's the last time I lied about something? Oh, God. They're just little things. If I don't want to go out somewhere, I'll lie.
Yeah,
Oh, I
exactly.
have friends in that's my go-to. I have friends in town. I can't make it out. Lie. Never have friends in town. I can't get those dirtbags
like,
to visit me, even if I wanted to.
Sitting on your couch by yourself.
Right. No, that's literally it. I'll be in a couch under blankets, and I'll be like, okay, I'll be out in 10 minutes. Or I left. That's the number one lie.
I start getting to the point where now I don't lie. I'll just be honest. I'll be like, look, I'm not going to lie to you. I need a break. I'm going to sit on my couch and like ordering food so I can't make it.
But that's what Ebony did in the first episode when she left the party. She said, I need a break. And then she was just like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, whatever. But in reality, that was a white lie too, because she was probably like, fuck these women.
Also,
I am
like,
over this.
What they don't talk about is the fact that they're being filmed. And this is Ebony's like first foray into reality TV.
Yep.
She was probably exhausted. And like, I don't want to drink anymore. I don't want to be on for the cameras. Like, I'm going to bed. Peace out.
Oh, 100%.
I respect it.
And speaking of drinking, the Sonia Morgan, that lady can fucking drink. And Luann, I love how Luann's there drinking like her fake mocktails, her and Leah. But Sonia went from 0 to 10,000 in about 2 seconds.
I think something else is at play when someone goes from 0 to 9 million.
What do you mean?
I don't want to insinuate anything.
No,
but
insinuate. Fuck it. We don't have to fact check.
I think they've talked on like past seasons even how she's like medicated for certain things.
Right.
Don't quote me on it, but I remember them saying that in past seasons. So I feel like you could have a weird reaction. You have a few drinks, like if they're all drinking the same amount, how is she here and they're here? Something's not adding up.
And it was interesting too to see, like, you can always tell when someone drinks and they get really sloppy if they're not in a good headspace. If someone drinks and they become very verbal and they start spilling their guts about everything that's going on in their personal life, that's not a good time to drink if you are that person. And B, it's a good time to recognize and cut yourself off, which is exactly what even Ramona, crazy Ramona, and I hate to use the word crazy, but even Ramona did that to her. She cut her off.
Yeah, that's
Countess
fair.
Luann tried to cut her off. Countess de Lesseps. Luann tried to cut her off. So it was interesting. And I had like secondhand embarrassment because I've been that drunk before.
Yeah.
I think everyone has been that drunk before, but to do it on a reality television show when, if you look behind the scenes, there's not one camera filming these people. There are 8 or 9 cameras. There are boom mics. There are people. But that's what makes great reality TV, and that's what made episode 3 so great.
But do you think there's a few different like dynamics I want to kind of delve into? First of all, Sonia being obsessed with Luann's like boyfriend situation, she would not let it go. She kept calling him the wrong name. His name's Garth. She kept calling him Garrett. I've also heard some stuff about him, which I'm curious if it's going to come out. Just that he like dates multiple people, isn't so exclusive type of thing.
Same.
I forget where I heard.
Like, is that bad?
I mean, look, I'm not judging, but I've heard some stuff, so I'm curious if we're going to see that play out or if that's something that will just maybe play out in the press.
Right.
I don't think they're still currently together, but that's aside. Like, okay, that's enough tea for that. But what do you think about Sonia being what I think was jealous
Of who?
of Luann having a man?
See, I don't think she was. I don't know if she was jealous.
She was FaceTiming a guy to one up her at dinner.
Yeah, I guess she was jealous. Maybe I overlooked that on second thought. It's childish, but again, when you're blacked out drunk, it's a drunk mind speaks a sober heart, or a drunk mind acts a sober heart. So if you're feeling some type of way and someone's upsetting you, you're going to act on that when you've had 3 bottles of rosé in 2 hours and you're eating a cheese plate to soak up all the booze. So I get it, but I guarantee they're going to apologize in episode 4, which is an episode I'm looking forward to because episode 3 ended on, what was that cliffhanger in episode 3?
It was Sonia screaming about JP Morgan being a Morgan. Like, she's living in the past.
Right.
My sister made a good point this morning. She was texting me. She was like, I think they were only married for 7 years, and he's 30 years older than her. So it's not, and he also has multiple ex-wives. So it's not like they had this 50-year marriage, this 20-year marriage. It's like, let it go. And I understand, like, I think it's more of an ego thing. Like, she's holding on to the fact that her life is different. She's not married to this, like, heir.
She's got that Upper East Side townhouse, though. Holy moly.
She got that in the divorce settlement.
I know.
Sure.
Do you know how much her divorce settlement was?
No, I don't.
I tried looking up her net worth, and it was... I looked up all their net worths, and it was like, they're all astronomically higher than any other, like, housewife franchise. But that comes with the territory. It's New York. So I think for episode 4, I want to see the fight. I want to see the reaction of Sonia when she sobers up, because that's the worst part about drinking, at least for me, when I used to get like really drunk, is the moral hangover the next day.
But they kind of all do this thing where they just like grace over it like nothing happened. They don't even hold each other accountable. Specifically the dynamic between Sonia and Ramona. So I'm curious because I feel like Ramona's just going to be like, it was fine.
Yeah.
Like they just grace over everything. One more thing before we wrap up. I do want to talk about Leah mentioning the fact that Luann drinking the, what did they call it? Fosé.
Fosé, yeah. She had a
could
mocktail.
potentially be like dangerous. What do you think about that?
So I thought it was interesting that Luann's reaction immediately was to flip it back onto Leah.
Well, you're drinking this.
Because Leah's been sober for 9 years.
Yeah.
Luann has been sober for a year. And they're at different points in their sobriety. But Leah will also have a cocktail. I listen, you don't hope for a downfall of someone, but the writing is on the wall. And when you're playing with fire in a sense that you're doing everything that involves drinking, the behavior of drinking, the ritual of drinking, getting it out, getting the wine glasses, doing this, but not the actual drinking, it makes you think it might only just be a matter of time before the fosé becomes rosé, before the mocktail becomes a cocktail, and before everyone is liquored up screaming at each other like Sonia Morgan. So we'll see.
I think that's really well said. I agree. It is a really, it's a line that you have to tiptoe. I think if you don't drink, you can't pretend to do the action of drinking.
Right.
Because I think Leah made a lot of sense. She was like, I don't know, this is a little bit of a dangerous territory. So we'll see how that plays out. Like you said, Luann's like newly sober. So I have empathy. Like, I'm sure it's really hard for her, but right now,
distance yourself, girl. Goddamn.
It seems, but also picture being in that environment. Like they are at vineyards. It's not the most sober environment.
Right.
So that's it for this week. I think there was a lot. The season is definitely picking up. I really like the addition of Ebony. I think that she speaks her mind, but in a cool, calm, collected type of way, which we could use, because sometimes when everyone's just screaming at each other, it's a lot for me to take in as a viewer.
Oh, definitely. She brings people back down to earth, and they're also not comfortable with each other yet. And when people aren't comfortable with each other, alcohol, the social lubricant, makes them comfortable with each other, and that's when people say things that'll offend people, that'll piss people off, and that's what's going to happen in episode 4.
I totally agree. Okay, guys, we will see you next week for episode 4. In the meantime, follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, everything. This will be an IGTV and total social show. So if you like what we're doing, make sure to keep following along.